Good morning.
Good evening.
Good night. Skip good afternoon.
We did. We skipped good afternoon. We did, but time zones are weird and tricky. Time zones are subjective, but that's not the word
Well,
I wanted to use.
I'm in a different place, but
You
I
are
am
in a
in the
different
same
place.
time. You might notice fans of this channel might actually recognize I am in the usual streaming place. You probably hear some chuckling behind me of your friend in arts, Eilish, who plays. Who do you play? Like Shuat, Grace? Who do you play?
You're so rude.
Oscar, is that his name? Bernard? Who knows? But ignore the Eilish to the side of the frame, who's helping me with some tech, because we are here to talk about first-time players.
Yeah, Ben and I kind of got chatting about that first session, because this weekend we are running games for people who it's their first time in most. I think is your table largely kind of new to the world of TTRPGs?
All three of them, yeah. So aside from Eilish, will be there. So I'm over in London visiting Eilish, and everyone else is a first-time player. They've never played before, and they have various interests, which is going to be fun to kind of. One person super wants to play and is really excited and is kind of doing all that kind of background reading and kind of devouring the books and stuff, and then the others are sort of
Wait,
more
there's books?
casual. Yeah. They only started that recently. I
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
worry too
That's
much
that's a
about it.
new thing for them, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Uh,
so they're super excited, and the others are just kind of looking for fun, sort of different. I think their expectations is a little bit more like a murder mystery night or something, just kind of a little bit something different to do on a Friday night. So that's my tomorrow. And you also have some. Are they all new players as well for your
so
game
no,
this weekend?
it's I have uh I think like in terms of what's around the table, I've played with 2 out of the 4 before. One I played a short-term campaign with, and he's very interested in tabletop role-playing games. Avid board gamer, loves all that kind of stuff, and likes playing games. And then their partner, I've ran a one shot for their partner before, but it was a very small group. It was sort of a just, do you want to come over? Let's have a go of it. We'll have some wine. It was more of a chance to hang out, and like we had some nice wine and we had some nice cheese and grapes and stuff, and there was D&D at the side of it. Um, and then the other 2 people coming to the table have never played before at all. At
Right.
all. Have One had never heard of it, and another person has heard of it, but was like, I really want to try, but I find it all very intimidating.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, well, I love running this game for new people. I love bringing people into the hobby and showing them how it works. My husband may or may not be joining us. He's he has been in a game before. I didn't DM it, um, and the only thing he remembers is casting light on a player,
Right.
and then shoving them off a cliff to determine how far down the drop was. No problem. Okay. Ben, I will be back in 2 seconds.
Yes, no worries. I will keep everyone company. It's those sort of first time shenanigans, and a little bit of PvP that I think is a fun thing um, to experience. I think it's one of those ones where first time players bring a different energy, bring a different imagination, and bring a different kind of creativity because they haven't, it's one of those games where it's like anything is possible, but within the confines of what's probable and what the rule says. And I know different players at the table can find that either just distracting. Irish just handed me a dongle, which is very nice of them to do. Nice. I see. Chat is having fun. I wasn't keeping my eye on chat because I was vamping while Declan was away. Definitely, I got punked while you were away.
No, I saw it. I love it. I
Yeah.
really, I'd be really tempted to like bribe Eilish,
Just hand me more things.
with levels and stuff to just start throwing stuff at you.
Well, here's a fun thing. Where Eilish is and where my lighting is. If I was like, God, hand me some Galaxy headphones. Thanks, Scott.
Wow. I think we
What a
just
trick.
proved.
This is the power DM can have. But I was saying that with your husband casting Light, another player, I was riffing on the idea that new players, first-time players, kind of bring a different creative energy. They're not as sort of confined by expectation, which I find really fun because they haven't been told like, no, you can't do that, or like, I thought anything was possible. It's like, well, yeah, but within the kind of what makes sense, there's still a certain suspension of disbelief for the rules of the world. And I know I know people I play with don't like that new energy at the table. They kind of like, it's sort of like, no, you can't do that, or no, it's this. But I actually I enjoy it. It's one of those things that I think from the very first time I played, I've tried to keep that sense of, yeah, there's rules, but like, let's muck around here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of known as being one of those players who tries to break the game. Never try to break the DM, just the game.
I
As
actually,
a
I have
byproduct of
no,
breaking the game.
you play at my table and you constantly try and break me a lot. So that's a lie. That's a horrible lie. God's there. God, could you please punish Ben for lying? I just God, I need to see like a slap or a fist.
Hey God, high five.
Oh yeah, God, unless you're watching the stream. It's not going to work that way, is it?
No, God can't hear you.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just realized, yeah, God's not listening to me.
Yeah,
I'll take it out on God in another time in another stream. C Master D makes so because as you were Ben, as you were kind of talking about that, oh, you're going to break the game, we're going to break the rules, you're going to. The counter to that is, while you might have that player who's overexcited and is just like, oh, I'm going to backflip up the table and I'm going to do this thing and then I'm going to cast fireball. And I was like, well, you're playing a barbarian and you don't have any magic. The other side of it then is that deer in the headlights scenario where so the barkeep turns to you and says, what do you want to, like, what can I do for you? And it's the and it's pure stunned silence. Because it's that there's too many possibilities. There's too many, and sometimes there's no possibilities. Sometimes it's, I don't know what to do. What do I do? Do I talk as me? Do I just say, oh, my character says? Do I have to do a voice? Do I have to? And again, like so many of our episodes, so many of our conversations, so many of our chats, it comes back to communication that very, very early on. Like one of the first things I will always say at my table, and I ran Monster of the Week, or a hack of Monster of the Week on Monday night for 4 players, 2 of which I play regularly with, and 2 I've never played with before. And before we jumped into it, we had a kind of a crash course session 0. We talked about, all these bits and pieces. And then I pointed out my play style as the DM and what my expectations are around the table. And those expectations are, do whatever makes you feel comfortable. So if you are narrating your character's actions and what your character says, perfect. If you are just as happy to get into character as I am, let's do that too. So whatever works for you works for me. And I will work with all of that, because I know some GMs really want an immersive table and they want people in character speaking as character. So each to their own and whatnot.
I think it's something like first timers will build up to that too if they want to. It's for like a very tangible tip that I would give in that situation is like, well, 2, I suppose. Giving options, a little bit like a choose your own adventure. It's like they come up, do you think you might react in a positive or negative manner? Doing the kind of like, do you think you would engage, or would you try to be like observing for the, like, do a little bit of back and forth so that the new player knows, right, I can kind of see the scale of what you want me to do. And to take that one step further, I sometimes do a thing called like the TV show intro, which is like, we are in the forest and we can see the clip clop of hooves and we're running fast and there's a wagon and they're clearly being chased by some bandits and you're all there protecting the wagon. And as if it's a television show intro where you all get this moment to kind of show off what your character might be doing, or where it would be, like so and so's, played by Ben Clifford. What do you think your character would be doing in a and a sort of action-packed chase scene. It's like, well, mine's at the front, like trying to like get this. Like mine's at the back, firing arrows, and like like all it has to do is like I'm casting magic, and casting magic is enough of a thing to be like you're starting to expect like you're starting to believe. But it is, it's that kind of
Yeah.
you're beginning to place yourself into the world, right? Nice. And then from there, it's just building little by little how much you immerse yourself or refuse to. It's a perfectly legit way to play, to always be third person and to always sort of I think some of those players have some of the easiest skills because you often feel like dialogue is your only form of tangible action.
Mm.
And it's really hard even as a player now to be like, you'd see AJ sort of shake his head and sort of sigh. But I never want that in a way where it's like, oh, you got something to say. It's like I just wanted like this is what he's doing. Like you don't need to. If you were an author, you'd kind of write it in, and only the audience gets to see it. Um, so yeah, it is the deer in the headlights one is interesting. Seamaster D was actually there for my very first session. But I suppose we haven't laid out the hopes and dreams for this episode, or if we have, I'll just kind of reiterate for anyone who's joined in chat. Because we're both running a session this weekend with new players, one of our hopes in sort of talking about this topic is that everyone in chat could help us sort of build that session, the session we run, and then we're both going to run it, and we might come back next episode and kind of pair notes, and tonally they'll be slightly different, and even thematically they'll be slightly different. So that's coming probably towards the latter half of the show. But just to set up the expectation, we are going to do a little crash course session prep using all of our experience as collectively, myself, Declan, and everyone here in chat.
And the prompt, it's just gone into the chat there. We want to talk about kind of first sessions in sort of a, hey, look, these are the things that we do. These are the things that we've experienced, and we'd love to know kind of what your, can you remember your first TTRPG session, and like what was the most memorable thing about that? And before we kind of went to, there was kind of a, where, oh, is that question going to, could that be a red flag question? And honestly, like if your first experience at a TTRPG, and you're comfortable obviously sharing it, if it wasn't a good experience, and you're happy to share that story with us, we'd love to know. But what about that first session kind of always stands out for you? And Ben, I'm throwing you on the spot.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, I kind of would love to know what your first player or DM, like whichever of those two you kind of.
I think I'll start with player, and I'm almost certain this is myself and Seamaster D have been playing TTRPGs together for like half my life, I think, if not longer.
12 years.
Yeah, so 8 years. So I have a live fact checker here, but the very first D&D session I ever played, I played a character called Maeglin Tuckberry. I think it was Maeglin Tuckberry or Maeglin Tealeaf, a snooty high elf wizard, runaway prince from the royal court of the elves, yada yada yada. And Seamaster D played a dwarf, and we kind of played into the Legolas Gimli sort of situation. If I remember correctly, it was a classic. You meet in a tavern, the town magistrate or mayor comes to you. Thanks. I see you in chat. The town magistrate or mayor came and was like, my son has been kidnapped by orcs or goblins. Please go rescue them. Or there was meant to be, I could be getting this wrong and mixed up. It's like diplomats were meant to arrive into the town and they haven't arrived yet. Can you go find out where they are? And they actually got ambushed on the road. So yeah, I can confirm all of this is a lie. I was not friends with an elf's friend. Yeah, thanks, Seamaster D. We became, well, I don't know if those characters ever became friends, but we definitely played into the trope, which was a nice, actually, as a first-time player, I knew the kind of rules of engagement in that sense. I could kind of play into things I was familiar with from books and shows and movies. So it was nice being able to lean on something. Like if I was playing a vampire character, I'd lean into the Dracula sort of stuff. Drawing on inspiration. It doesn't have to be like a brand new character idea. You can just be like, I'm Indiana Jones, put in D&D. That's totally fine. But what about your So I get the feeling that your first game was also your first time DMing. I don't think you came in. I don't think you were born a player,
Uh,
but
no, I was. I started a player.
oh,
I started as a player. I started as a player and very quickly went, I want to be the DM.
I think I could do what you do, but better. So out of the way.
I played in it was a 2-year campaign, and it was a GURPS game.
Hmm.
So, and I think it was kind of a hack or partially kind of homebrewed kind of way of doing it. And because we weren't handed the rule book, we were kind of handed character sheets that the DM made and told how to spend points across those stats and what it would mean. And um, gosh, I remember her name. I'll be honest with you. Because I mean, I might as well be transparent. I don't think I would do this now. I definitely wouldn't do it now. But
Mm.
I was playing kind of again. I was playing a spellcaster. That's always my go to is always going to be spellcasters. But in the game, you kind of you. Or if I remember correctly, all mages were kind of over elements. So when you were learning magic, you had an element, and then you would learn certain words. So your power then kind of went into those words. So I'm
Mm.
actually quite strong at creating fire, or control, or diminish, or shape, or so you kind of spent experience points learning these words, these powerful words to kind of control the elements, which is really cool. Uh, and the DM at the start had said, "Oh well, if you take penalties, like if you do something to kind of limit your character in some way, shape, or form that would mean that there's struggles for them in the world." So like that, it could be something small like the character. You could have been you're an ex-convict,
Mm.
so that means that like some people may know about your criminal past, so you'd get extra points to spend. But there was now this snag that actually you might not get into certain cities, or you might not get whatever. And I ended up making my character blind.
Oh.
And then because I was building her as an air mage, I used the wind for like a sonar type thing because she was
Mm.
so control and sense and create were my three big words that she was kind of in with. So she like a bit like Toph in the way that vibrations in the
Yeah.
ground. It was the same thing with this. Now this is well before Avatar, but yeah, she was quite. I played her kind of around the same age as me, and I played her very much kind of a little bit anxious because I was very anxious going into it. Um, and I remember kind of getting really, really excited as the weeks would kind of roll into it. But that very first session, I remember just being completely overwhelmed with the character sheet and the the dice and
Mm.
trying to figure out and then and then everybody else around the table was way more experienced. Um, and it took a bit of getting used to. Um, but I did I do remember being very very sort of uh, I felt way out of my depth.
Right.
And it's not like I was playing with people who've been playing for 10, 15 years, but they all kind of knew each other, so there was that social aspect to it that was a bit of a struggle. But two, they all had I think everybody else around that table had DM'd prior. So
Yeah.
they knew TTRPGs, whereas I knew of them, I had not played them.
Yes.
And I went into this game kind of blind. Um, and it was I have to say I had a lot of fun. And one of the people I was playing that game with, I am still really close to. Like we're
Mm.
still like great friends. Um, so and I would go on to from that game, like I said, I played for 2 years. She would go on to run a game of vampire.
Mm.
Um, but I wasn't playing vampire, we were playing werewolf. And
Right.
we didn't realize it for about 6 months, but she was running two campaigns and they were the same story. And we
Yeah.
had been hunting a pack. We had been hunting a kind of I don't know what a family of vampires, a clan of vampires. It was the other players. Um, and this was just this wonderful game of cat and mouse that we thought
Mm.
was just a story, but and then eventually our paths clashed at the end. brilliant. It was a lot of fun, and that kind of spurred me in. But I ran a game, my DMing session, to go back onto the other side of it, the DM side. I think I've talked about this before, but I had my very first time DMing. A player reviewed me afterwards.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah,
Yes, we have talked about
yes,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
and posted that review online. So, I mean, I remember being very sort of like, oh, afterwards. I mean, like, oh, okay, because they were very honest and upfront, and that was a lot.
Do we discuss, or do we even want to discuss why? Like, what was the like?
I don't know. It wasn't even that this was not like this wasn't a common thing.
Yeah,
And it
I know
just
there was a time we all had blogs, so like just writing about your daily life and doing that kind of thing was a little bit common practice. Like I remember we'd hang out as friends, then I'll go home and do our like Hotmail or MSN like little pages.
mm,
Um,
the
so whether
yeah, no, this was in college. This was
mm,
on the college boards, and so it wasn't just that it was, oh, they posted a review of the game on their blog. They posted this on the college public forums for societies, and then other people could come in and talk about it as well.
yeah, it seems
So yeah.
that's a hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, never good. It's a. I'm trying to think of my first DM. I think I played with my brother at C Master D, and my old DM was there, and another friend. It was. I didn't start DMing until I first moved to Toronto. We did it online. It was actually an online Star Wars game that I did. Probably riddled with like. It's funny in the. I see a mirror in your situation with GURPS, where you were a new player surrounded by experienced players and experienced DMs. I was surrounded by experienced players as a new DM. So like that thing where it's just like, oh, here's cool and here's twist. They were like, they could see the beats, like they could see the matrix of this. Like they knew my notes before even going in because they're just like, yeah. But the weird thing about DMing for the first time is I never knew modules existed. I didn't know
Mm.
there was pre-written adventures you could run because my very first DM homebrewed everything. So I was terrified of DMing because it was just like, that's so much work. Not only do I need to build a world and the people and the things and the story, how am I going to keep track of all this kind of stuff? And now it's something I really love doing. It's like I find as much joy, if not sometimes more joy in world building than actually like running the games in that world. Or it's a different, they feel like two different tasks.
Mm.
I think we've done that. Yeah, I was about to say the question I had for you is, do you think, as a piece of advice for people playing for the first time or running for first time people, that you should balance your table with mostly first timers with maybe a little like extra support from like one experienced person? Like instead of bringing one first timer into an experienced group, just get a bunch of first timers, bring them together, and maybe have one experienced player just to be guardrails.
See, that can be really tricky. Because it on the surface, like, well, an extra support can be great,
Mm,
but there's a line there where it's, yeah, look, I appreciate the rule checking, but like, remember, first time and it's a one shot. This isn't a campaign. As long as again, I
mm,
think if there's a clear boundary of, hey, you're here to help, and you're showing kind of where things are on the sheet. I'm still the person making the call with
yeah,
the rules here, and if they want to use acrobatics, I'm letting them use acrobatics,
yeah,
because that's where I I think, see, I like, I'm very, very privileged with my tables, and I've been very, very fortunate. And like, I see Master D and Zool are like, what the fuck publicly. Yeah, no, it was a thing. But I even like, I like that could have put somebody off
yeah.
a long time. And it's really funny now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually getting flashes because I now starting to remember it was a vampire game because I became obsessed with the system from White Wolf, and I based it on Moulin Rouge. And now, after thinking of one of my NPC characters, and I'm like, I'm bringing her back in some shape or form. I'm
Mm.
bringing this NPC character back because she was called Guillotine Annie, um, and she was half Irish, half French, and she was a vampire hunter. And it was just, yeah. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna work that somewhere. Someone, sometime,
Potentially into Sunday.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
But we I love DMing for new players. Like I was volunteering for a while with a kind of a local youth group, and a lot of the
Mm,
times it was young people who it was their first time or they'd very limited experience, and I love that. I love running a game for experienced players where we're sitting around and it's a kind of a discussion of the mechanics and what works, and that can be a lot of fun. Um, I find where, and again, I've had this where the people who are at my table who are more experienced, and then the people who are at the table who are new or are kind of still kind of fresh to it. I've been very fortunate in the mix there of actually they have the same vibe as me, which is we're here to help teach and we're here to have fun, and that makes it a lot more. I love that environment. I love that sort of atmosphere that comes with that, and I see that a lot at like at the likes of AdventureCon, where it's that kind of group dynamic where it's a bit of camaraderie that like it's not I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just showing you that's that and that's what that is and this is what you're trying to do, but not that this would make more sense, but that's the actual, but talk to the DM and see what the DM thinks. What about you? Like,
yeah,
are we kind of on the same page here, or are you
yeah,
like,
I
no, I
think
hate new
so.
players, they're the
No,
worst?
no, I really like running games for new players, because uh they come with like I think I think I've only had one or two, and I wouldn't even call them bad experiences, just like mismatched expectations of experiences. Um, Running for some new players where I was trying to do like a horror kind of thing. And new players can sometimes come at like giddy, kind of silly energy, and it's not the right tone. So we didn't hit the tone of the game. But ultimately, the only person who cared and even not all that much at the end of the day was me. So it was like they still had fun. But I'm a big fan of running for new players. It's AdventureCon or any con is actually a really good example of like when you've just been kind of they're not a friend group, you don't really know them, you're like total strangers. There's a couple of things I do to help in my sessions, and I don't know if anyone else in chat does this as well, but I'll kind of like do a little sense check on their previous knowledge, what they're coming to the table with. So I'll ask like, do you know what a TTRPG is, or have you heard of Dungeons and Dragons, or what do you think of when when someone says I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons, what's in your mind? And there's no wrong answers. I just
Mm,
want to know, like, most times people are like, well, I saw it in, say, like Freaks and Geeks, or if you're like slightly younger, it's like Stranger Things, or they've seen a podcast, or they've listened to something. It's like, oh, they played D&D in that, I think. So
yeah.
they might have seen like the community episode or something like that. So then I go, okay, great, yeah, that's good. And then the second question I ask is like, what do you normally like watching when it comes to like shows or TV or reading? Like, do you have a favorite genre? Do you like, what's your kind of go-to comfort movie or like entertainment? If you were watching like a family movie, what would it be? And they'll usually tell me like, oh, I really like this show, or I really like this thing. It worked really well at one of the gamer fests I ran for a bunch of kids who only had like 40 minutes. They just wanted to get a sense. And I asked them these questions, and they're like, we really like the show called Owl House. And I'm old, so I didn't know what it was. And they just sort of explained it to me, and I was just like, right, okay, got it. And I could use their frame of reference to bring them into the world a little bit easier. So I was just like, right, so you see, we're in the middle of a forest and you see a witch's house, and a bat flies out the window and it's a dead of night, and you're all adventurers you've been lost in the forest. And that gave them a thing of, you know, actually, I like most new players, they're like, yeah, we avoid the house. What's in the forest?
Mm,
I'm like, well, the house was where you were going, but never mind. And that sort of nice thing for new players is they'll never do what you expect for two reasons. Like, I think as players, we can sometimes follow the breadcrumbs that a DM leaves out because we're both DMs as well. So we kind of go, all right, I know I should search for traps, but it's more entertaining if I don't. I open the door.
yeah.
Um, and most DMs will like give an experienced player a little bit of leeway in that sense, where they're just like, I know you didn't play to the best of your ability there because you wanted to see, you're indulging me. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, you die. It's like,
Mm.
right, I guess next time I won't follow your crumbs. That's not fun.
It's Zool has just said, I remember watching the girlfriend fudge a few rolls, and then later down the line, their character got no leeway from the GM when she tripped a poison needle trap. He knew she
Mm,
had been cheating. I learned that the rolls of the dice are an important part of the story, and bad rolls can make for interesting stories. That is, I think, one of the hardest things for
mm,
new players as well, is that sometimes failing the roll, it can feel like, oh, my character didn't do the thing. Oh, now we
yeah.
can't get through the door. It's like, no, 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 no. There is way more fun in failure in these things, because it's a failure isn't a hard stop. It's just a complication. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think, like as DMs, man, it's like you're saying, it's like we're going to there's the witch's house. Look, look at that! Look, the bat just came out the window. I mean, short of a big neon sign saying "Go here," I had that on Monday. I had a I
Mm.
had a shack with a thing, and they were like, I was like, "There's a shack," and I described the shack in detail. We've all watched 80s movies. We're not going to the shack. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, gotta find
Yeah.
something else to do.
But that's a good, like, in the comparison between first timers and experienced players. Um, it's hard as an experienced player to be like, you almost have to go above the table and be like, okay, remember guys, we're all playing in this genre, so you sort of do have to do the like
Mm.
go to the fucking shack. Like, you've seen these things, but we're playing into the tropes. We're not subverting them. We're not counteracting them. We're if you were doing a comedy, you wouldn't walk in and be like, well, I'm going to be a serious businessman, unless of course there is a way to do that funny. But slip on the banana, like that's
Can I ask you, just to kind of go back to your question there, where
Mm,
you're asking those players, those first timers, kind of, what's your frame of reference? You were saying Owl House there.
mhm,
Something that we had wanted, that we said we would talk about is kind of the first timer trope, things that you
yeah.
often see at the table. One of the things I remember, and I'm not specifically, because I hate the fact that it's called the Mercer effect.
Hmm.
But I'm just the critical role effect. Stop saying it's
Hmm.
Matt Mercer's effect. It's the critical role effect that's brought so many new people. Like I know people say Stranger Things. It's like they don't really explain how to play D&D. It's just a thing over there.
Hmm.
But I um that's something that I'm always a little bit, as the DM, anxious of, when it's oh yeah, no, I watched Critical Role, so I want to play Critical Role, and I was we're no, we're playing D&D, and like that's the one thing that I've often, I will say, seen, not necessarily experienced. Uh,
Mm.
so I don't know how valid that is, because I remember, when people talk about the Mercer effect, and well, I need like Matt Mercer as the DM. You have to be, you have to, role play Matt Mercer as the DM. It's like, well, I haven't had people at my table like that, but it has been something that I have been kind of uh conscious of, that like the expectations that some people have when they find Critical Role, the Adventure Zone, Dungeons and Daddies,
Mhm.
Three Black Halflings, this
Romancing the Dungeon.
Romance of the Dungeon,
Yeah,
yeah,
Homebrew
all,
Quest, or like,
Home Request, yeah, all these
yeah.
things, that worry of like the that expectation of, well, I want that DM, like I want that
Yeah.
story, I want that style. It's like, okay, um, I don't know how that's going to work. Uh,
I have a pretty glib, but I like, I've never been in this situation either, but I know that I just have all the confidence in my head that this would work. If someone said, well, I want a Matt Mercer GM, it's like, great, I want a Taliesin Joffrey player. Like, know the rules, come prepared. Like, you willing to do the work? I'll meet you there.
mm,
I want someone, as smart and as interested in taking notes as Marisha Ray then. Like, but if you're gonna rock up and you just sort of phone it in, and if you're just gonna like be a goofball, I want you to be as talented as Sam Riegel. So
mhm.
because you were right, it's not the Mercer effect, it's the critical role effect. And that I think very clearly says the table makes the atmosphere. It's not all on the DM. Like, the success and the joys of a game um is collective.
Um,
Um, yeah, you probably saw me look from my
yeah, we did. Yeah, I was like, and also see Master D is here as well. I was like, are you just coming for everybody tonight? Like, is that
No, but like, I listen to Master D. I've never said I want a Montmorency. It's for the people who do say
were you
that.
listening when they said?
Yeah, too bad.
I don't.
Um,
Uh, oh, Ben, sorry. Sorry. We're being mean. We're being mean. Um, I I would love to know. Like, I love your idea of like getting into your player's mindset.
mhm,
Like, hey, what are you looking? That's so useful. Um, if I could kind of leapfrog from that then into that first like sitting down. So we've done the session 0, we've set our expectations.
Mhm.
Can I ask then, what do you do for that first session prep? Like, what does first session prep look like for you as the DM?
This is where I don't know if I have an answer. First
Okay.
session prep terrifies me because I'm always just like, I sort of go to the tropes. I'm like, okay, do we start in a tavern? Is it the mayor of the town comes and says a wagon was meant to turn up and it never did? And go investigate. Like sometimes there's I think a lot of TTRPG players want a reason to be together. But I don't know if that exists for first timers because they're like, well, we're playing the game and yeah, sure. I don't need your full like immersion here. I just like let me hit some things with my sword and let me roll dice. Um, I ran a session a couple of when was I last running a game of D&D? I ran something. Um, and it was like it just felt badly. It's just like here's some tropes and go do this maybe. And it just felt like I was just sort of like scene hopping. Didn't feel good. Um, because I don't think I had prepped enough. And I think I was just like, I've DM'd enough. I'll just like wing this. And I didn't have like NPCs to hand, and I didn't have rich worlds for the players to get sunk into. I felt, um, and only after the fact and reflection, I was just like, I should just like when it's new players and they've never seen the Homebrew Quest, they've never DM like they've never had me as a DM. I should just take NPCs I like and put them in here. Like I can take NPCs from anyone's game. It's like I know a flim flam. Maybe they made a flim flam, and I can afterwards say like that's a character actually in my friend Declan's game. You should give that But it's like just take what you're comfortable with and put it to flesh it out and use the tropes because I think for first time players, not only do they expect it, they don't need a big twist. They don't need to be like, ah, the goblins were good all along. Um, I mean, you can if it's a one shot that's over the course of the day, sure, like bring those in. But sometimes it's fun just to go to a wizard's tower and stop the wizard from exploding. It can be as simple as that. Um, but I'd love to know if you have like tips or hints because as we're about to do, we need to prep some sessions for this weekend.
Yeah, the one thing this is going to sound so bleh, or cliche or whatever, but um the one thing I would often say, especially if you are bringing people in to this for the first time, like if it's a group, if it's largely a group of like inexperienced or no experienced players, uh, do not forget that you are also meant to enjoy this.
Mm,
This is something that I've been talking to myself, which makes me sound like a bit of a lunatic, but conversations I've been having with myself about my own games, and it's that this is meant to be fun for me as well. This is meant to be something that I enjoy too, and I love. One of my things is if my players are having fun around the table, then I'm having fun,
mm,
and that's the thing that I like. You might decide, look, we're starting in the tavern and that's where the quest is, but actually it turns out the players get distracted outside the front of it, and because you described a well and now they're heading over to the well, does that mean it's gone completely off the rails? Nope. It just means that somebody near the well is going to give them the quest instead, or they see it on a notice board. So I and did they save the mayor's son in the end, or did they stop the wizard from exploding? Nope. uh, did they have a laugh and did they enjoy it? Yep, cool. That's my job done.
mm,
And one thing I will say that helps me there, we should I definitely think we should come, because I think we're giving kind of a big overview of first times. I
mm,
I think we should definitely come back to this topic from the DM's perspective, the first time DM, the first episode, the first session, the first time you set out to do this is, and we've talked about this quite a bit. Do not write a script. Do
mm,
not write a 3-page, 4-page. Do not write a 1-page script. Write 3 to 4 beats. Um, the town, the cause, and whatever else you might need, like the twist, or the development. That's it. That's literally everything else can you can freeform.
I would there's only one part of it I disagree with. I think you should write like a paragraph or two at the very beginning, just a little scene setter, so that the first person talking at the start of a first time game is like, you know, welcome to the realm of Hibernia. It's a world of, violence and madness and kings being overthrown. I think there should be something, and I think that's better scripted to set, because when someone's sort of doing it off the cuff as a player, kind of like, yeah, yeah, whatever. But when it feels like it's delivered with gravitas, even if that gravitas disappears straight away, I
See,
think there's something nice about that. But
that's and that yeah, and I really disagree with you.
wow, yeah.
I think that could have for me that could have the opposite effect of, oh shit, they want me reciting like YA fantasy kind of
Mm,
passages. I'm called Gribbles the Gobbo. It's I know exactly what you're doing, Ben, and part of me like this is I mean I love that kind of stuff, and I think it can be, but I think for first timers, and again, I am somebody who riffs the very start because
mm,
I know the location. I pick the weather, I start the weather, I start the location, and I go from there. I put them into that world as quickly as I can. I don't know if that could, again, it's kind of what's in front of you and what people are going to will come. Like
yeah.
I yeah, there's no point saying that won't work, Ben. It probably does.
N-
It definitely works, Ben. It definitely works because you do this and it works in your games. Um,
I think the thing that I forgot to mention, and you mentioned it with Gribbo the Gobbo, um, if you're going to do this, kind of ad libs it and start bringing the players in so that the gravitas is actually grounded. So it's a world of this is this is this. It's a world where characters like Gribba the Goblin can be like running through back streets in the the realm's biggest city, like robbing people with their backs are turned. Like bring them into it
yeah,
so that they can kind of be like, right, okay, got it.
yeah. Uh,
And that's usually where I do that like theme like TV show thing where I'm like in this world, like how do you feel, get a little taster of like it's not a role play moment, it's just an idea. Um yeah, I know what you mean. It's just I feel when I flub them, I lose the room.
okay.
Um whereas I think you're very good at riffing them. So you don't lose. And I think it's probably, as a teacher, as a lecturer, you can kind of hold a group of people in your
I do think, yeah. Look, that is part and parcel of my job as well. In that, like, I go in and like, okay, we're talking about this today. I have to set that up, and if I set that up and it's a let's look at this PowerPoint, it's a switch off moment, and I think so. I think that's where I have sort of that adverse reaction to that as well. That like because I know if I did that the way I deliver it, whereas I'll go in and I can throw into myself. There's a question from C Master D
Mhm.
around: do you think there's more pressure on the DM and the new player as part of a show, or just at the table? I would actually love to come back to that in
Mm,
that next episode where if we wanted to keep this conversation going, because I know we've got 15 minutes.
mhm.
So I'm gonna Ben, I'm gonna write that question down.
Yes.
Uh,
Because I think
uh,
we'll do just at the table, and then we have our experience as a show, and we can
yeah, yeah.
bring that in. That's a great question because
Uh,
that is the plan. It's because I'm away. We're doing the length of the episode it should be, hour-long chats. But we're both talkers.
yeah.
Um, but we'll come
Um,
back and
yeah, we
next
have
time I'm
said
sure it'll be
we
longer.
want to do this. We would love if chat would help us
Yes.
prime the session that we're going to run on Saturday and Sunday. And Ben and I are said we're going to take this as the source material and then homebrew our kind of with sort of a tonally, thematically, there might be a different angle to it, but we're going to have the same location. So we're looking for chat to help us with the kind of 4 prompts that we are going to
Mhm.
then use to run this. So uh I guess when we say location, Ben, is there something?
Yes.
Are we talking like this takes place in the forest, this takes place in the mountains, this takes place in a town?
I think it's as
That's what.
specific as if they want to go straight then like start in the tavern, let's start in the tavern. If they want to go, it's about in the ocean. It's about in the
Yeah.
ocean. It's
So
an airship, whatever chat we're thinking. Like where should the opening scene where
where
our
do we start
party
this?
are
Yeah.
together for the first time?
So if yeah, we'll run through what we're looking at rather because if we go
Yes.
this, what's the point of this? Like, what are the party doing? Um, So are they there to meet somebody? Are they have they brought the thing that they were supposed to get, and now they're waiting for their reward? But what's the hook? What's
Mhm.
the thing that's going to entice them to play and figure out? We'd love to know what your monster or our monster is going to be. Like, what are they up against?
Yeah.
Um, and then what's the twist or the
I like the
develop?
word development is a great
Yes,
word on this.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I think twist carries a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's like, haha, and I also think twist because I do love a good twist. But I think twists sometimes can feel like a kind of a gotcha moment,
Yes.
and if
The
not
times
done,
that worked best are when I didn't even expect I was gonna do them.
yeah, yeah, that's usually where the oh shit.
Like, well, what maybe the quest giver was the evil person all along. No, they'll see that coming. They'll see that coming.
The quest giver is your father.
Yes, I agree. A badly handled twist is
I
never
think
it's
it
better
does.
off not having
Okay, so C Master G has said a desert
one.
for
Okay,
our
nice.
location, um, which is
I'm also gonna write down I've never thought of it before as a plot hook. It's like you've just completed the adventure. You're going back to the place you got it from to get your reward.
I love it. It's
Because
such
then
a
they have a yeah,
and then so you have this idea of the party, and what I often do in that scenario is, what was your role?
yeah.
Like, what did you do? Like, were you? Oh yeah, they're taking care of it. I'm here to just moral support, and it's a nice way to kind of flesh out kind of their roles very
Mm,
quickly, and then see how that develops. Do they stick to that, or do they kind of, oh no, they're doing everything. I want to be doing stuff. I know I said I was going to be the cool guy that kind of stood in the back, but I'm getting stuck into the mix.
yes,
Um,
I love it. Because also they're like the motivation is there. The money. And it's like,
yes,
and you can I can have different reasons. Like, what did you need the money for? It's like, oh, my sick kid. I'm like, cool. What did you need it for? It's like, love money. It's
Mm.
great. Yeah, that's all we need.
Sam.
Um, what did you do? I also love money. I've got gambling debts. Like, there's a reason for the reward beyond just like gold is fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, desert is nice.
yeah.
Desert's an interesting spot.
Do we want to like because hook is a big thing. Like,
Mm,
what's the thing? Like, so if anybody wants to throw out, we're still looking for our hook, our monster, and our development.
yes.
Like, what's the thing? Where does the story turn? Um, and like, again, it's not that Ben and I are going to go away now and write a module. We're going to take the same four kind of words and run with them and set it
Mm,
off. I like deserts are often like if because again we're also putting a lot of pressure on chat as well. Help us do this thing that we need
yeah.
you to do.
Yeah, I think you spend hours doing before a session. Do it in like 10 minutes. Like, don't worry about it. Actually, but like to be fair, there is sort of a creative merit to just blam 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 blam.
Okay.
Sandworms is nice, say rocky sections for monsters.
Okay.
And then Sea Mastery, bring back the seed of the rebirth earth, a magic relic that will help bring back the kingdom of the desert.
I love it.
Just to clarify, Sea Master D, do you mean once the seed is there, it like oasifies a barren land? Is it sort of when you say bring back the kingdom of the desert, do you mean more sand or less sand? Or is that up to us? God, I hope one of them says my frame of reference is Dune tomorrow. That's gonna be so handy.
I hate Dune. I hope this isn't Dune.
It's like any like sessions here, any flags, any X's, like no, anything. Sand though, just like sand. Although there was something, it's in Wonder Home. It's a really nice location builder tip when they're building out places, taking words that are the intention behind them versus the actual literal meaning. So like desert in the sense of like a sand
Mhm.
desert, but also desert is in like a barren land that has been stripped of something. And it might be just like it might be a desert of community. It might be a desert of um like faith.
See, see. Master G has just said it's kind of up to you. You can either create an oasis or rise an ancient kingdom lost to the dunes. There, a part of me went, what if it's a group of desert folk who are expanding the desert?
Mm,
And it's that thing of it's not just we're actually here to like not that we're the villains, but it's that thing of oh we want more desert. We love the desert. Like this is there's too much here. This shouldn't be here.
this planet too wet.
Yeah, me. I yeah. Do we have any suggestions so for our development? Like, what is, or because
Mm,
I know that can be, that's often like kind of, I think that's the thing that as DMs we sweat over quite a lot. Like, what is that switch in the story? Where does that kind of come from? Um, and again, I like the idea of kind of letting us kind of figure it out, and
yeah.
giving us something to work with. Because, like we said, monster. So Zool, we have sandworms. This is where that could start to get really interesting. Uh,
Mm.
from like for where that could kind of go.
I also think it's kind of like it's nice to have a like recognizable thing. I think if anyone in a desert situation, like any player, first time or otherwise, will know like they're expecting to see some things here. So like if you start to describe like tremors in the ground, they might pick up on it, might not, and they might like sometimes I get like this happened to me with Tensor's floating disk in our game. I got like nerd excited about a thing. I was like, we're gonna see the thing. And I knew it was coming, but it didn't stop my excitement. I was just like, this is the thing. And it's like a silly item that I just love. It's just this floating disk. It's sort of needless, but I love it. But yeah, scorpions, vultures, all the desert stuff, maybe even oppressive sky. I'm now suddenly in World 2 of Super Mario 3.
The sun comes down and tries to kill you.
Yeah.
Have you any thoughts on the development? Because I know that is a big one, like especially because this is so everyone's kind of trying to add bits to it. Like, what do you think?
I was thinking, and maybe this is one of those ones where like the big trope is like the quest giver was actually a bad person all along. Um, but I think if there's like sabotage somewhere in the actual thing, I don't know whether that's like weather, gods, something bigger, something kind of like larger than what is happening, or the opposite, something a lot smaller. It's just like it's already like if it's like bringing back the seed of the rebirth, magic growth, like the place that they're going is like innate. Because I think it's sometimes nice to leave on a cliffhanger if you're so that like if you cliffhanger and it's like that location's no longer here, and actually you start to look at the in my stupid brain of like you look at the stars in the skies and you realize this kingdom existed 1,000 years ago. Where on the earth it is now, that's an event in and of itself. Um, but maybe there's something there.
Zool,
Yeah.
when we talk about development, we're kind of like we're talking about kind of we don't want to use the word twist, but sort of the switch in the story where it's the okay, so we're on this quest, but actually this is the real thing at the heart of it. Um, so like someone from the wetlands has stolen the relic and hidden it. I part of me was thinking, what if there's another group that are because
Mm,
C Master D said bringing back, not that we have to go get it and then come back. It's we might the party already have it. They're
mm,
delivering this thing. What if there is another group that are actually will know we want it and these things and like they're from the wetlands
mm,
and we want this thing to uh so there's the development that like we're
yeah,
actually we're a day away from this ritual, from this thing happening. The planets will be aligned, the stars will be aligned, whatever it might be, and everything's primed. Oh shit, it's been stolen out from underneath us. We've got to get this now. There's
yeah.
so little time, or the ritual fails.
I like that. I like that there's a external party in direct opposition to whatever the party's goals are, and we can obviously kind of fix that around the game itself. Um, like the classic development I think of Zoe when I'm thinking of like a twist is like the mayor asks you to rescue their daughter. You go rescue the daughter, and the daughter wasn't kidnapped. The daughter ran away.
Mhm.
Because the mayor's actually like it's not a great place to live. It's like they're actually in love with the bandit chief, that kind of thing. We're like, oh, what do we do with this like slight end game moral dilemma?
Mm.
Do we want, like in this case, do we want more desert or don't we want more desert?
Yeah,
Or
or
like the thing that you can see the party are sort of hooked on. And you'll pick it up and you listen to them. They'll be like, we have to do it because of this. I promise you, someone at the table is like, we have to do this because of this. And they'll say, whatever that is, twist that.
yeah, that's it. I sometimes I think that the best development comes out of the players and how they're reacting and responding to things, and then it's your ability as the GM to go, aha. that's the thing that's going to make that player question everything, and then everybody else
Yeah.
around them will be kind of feeding into it. They'll be the id and the super ego for them of, no, we have to do this. This is what we're here for. Um, I actually was thinking Sea Master G as well, like number 3, it'll wipe out the living creatures that are already there. But what if there's already another settlement?
Yeah.
And if this thing gets here, it's they're gone. Like it's these two systems can't coexist.
Yeah.
So you're bringing back something, but you're wiping your. And how do you feel about that?
Yeah. I like that as it's not too much of a like not unexpected development, but it's one of those ones where it's just like, oh, this thing that we've always wanted, it comes at a bigger cost than you
Cost.
expect.
Yeah.
That's just a nice little like thing to draw on. Whether it's like, oh, when you actually plant the seed, like, yeah, you get the oasis or desert or whatever, but actually it brings the return of like an ancient power from here who wants not just this, but like
More. This is the start.
more.
Like, what if
Yeah,
we because I think this is where, because I think both of us have a very similar approach to waiting to see what the
mm,
players want to do with it. And I think that always makes the better development. If we take this idea of this quest that they're already on, because again, I agree with Zoo. I think when already on a mission, it's a good start into it.
mhm,
What if we did something with it is just that concept of there's actually more there's a bigger cost for this, and
mhm,
we get to decide based on the characters that are in front of us what that cost, what's going to pull more out of them. And that's where
yeah,
I think it could be that thing of us as DMs where the story could kind of go, well, actually this is the way we went with it and this is
mhm.
the way we went with it, rather than being like we're doing the same thing. We just decide that there's a bigger cost.
Yes. I like that because I'm going to do a sort of DM faux pas tomorrow.
Eilish is in
Um,
the room with you.
the moment. Uh, in that, as I was explaining the table, there's like I'll actually be there, kind of playing and just sort of playing with friends. There'll be two people who are kind of like casually interested, and one person's like super into it. And I've been trying to find a moment for that person to like let them slightly shine more than the rest. It's like, as I was saying earlier, it's like it's the birthday boy's party. It's like the birthday boy gets a little extra special moment for their game that they're going to like put more time and effort and all that kind of stuff in. And what I like is trying to figure out the cost around what their character, if they're all about like self-sacrifice, then it's like, right, do you become the last crusader? Do you have to stay here entombed for all, you're making a sacrifice? Or if they're all about like personal gain, there was this like,
Mm.
is that at the expense of something? So I'll figure out what their vibe is and then sort of build the development, but knowing that development is the cost is more than you expect.
Um, yeah, no, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Because I'm conscious of the time as well, Ben, because we said we'd do a hard out. To answer C Master G, yes.
That's
So
the plan.
what
Yeah.
our plan is to kind of report back on this, how it kind of went. We might. I know I'm gonna ask my table. Could I record some quick little voice
Mhm.
notes from them just to see how what were their initial reactions? How do they feel about it? They may, again, these people, a lot of them are new to this space, so they may not be comfortable with it. But I'm going to ask, and we might have those as well as little things that we can do,
Yeah.
just to so you know it was real and not made earlier. Yeah, sure, I had lots of fun. Oh shit.
That was the
um,
best time of my life.
so yeah, I'd like to keep maybe the focus now on the DM's perspective for the next one, that
Yes.
we come back and
Yeah, let's
report
bring that
on
in.
that. Yeah, that'd be kind of a nice way of doing it. Well, Ben, good luck with it. So just to
Thank you.
recap, desert, a relic known as the rebirth earth, whether it's a seed or some sort of magical artifact.
Mhm,
We're looking at sandworms, scorpions, and vultures to be kind of like the atypical monsters that they might
mhm.
encounter in some shape or form, and that our development, our twist, our catch, our switch is that the quest that they're already on, they've been successful, they've actually gotten the thing, and they're now just bringing it back for the ritual, is going to come at a much bigger cost than they first realized.
Yes.
And we're waiting to see what that might look like for our party when we kind of develop them. We're both doing pre-gen characters as well. I'm because they're everybody at the table is kind of new-ish to mine.
Mhm.
I said I would just do pre-gen characters. So have you done yours?
No, I'm hoping I'm going to a place in London that's like a D&D themed bar. So we're going to drop in before our little like block session. So we're renting like a booth and everything. It's like for first timers, they're getting the bells and whistles experience.
Okay.
Like there'll be a light up table that I won't use. Like it's not my style, but we'll be in a nice setting. So we're going to call in tomorrow afternoon and see if they have pre-gens. If they don't,
Okay.
we'll just like nip to a library, print them off. But if people come with characters, it's level 3. We're doing the classic level 3 thing.
So I'm actually making up my pre-gen characters this evening. I'm happy to share that campaign with you if you do need to print them off, because then at least we'll have the same possibly the same characters. I'm gonna make more than I need and let them decide what they want to do with it.
That'd be great.
I'm making level 3 characters as well, because I think that's a nice sweet spot. Level 1 I think is a bit like, oh man, we can't do anything, and I died. Whereas level 3 is that it's not too complicated to pick up stuff, and you can do fun stuff at level 3.
Yes, yeah. It kind of has you hit with a spell, you hit with a thing, you block whatever, you've got your skills, but here's this extra little like once a game kind of thing, or you can use this little bit. So I'm the same. I love starting things at level 3. I'm almost certain, unless it's total Nelson Mandela effect, that they say in the DM's guide, it's pretty good to start at level 3.
Yeah, and I am someone who likes to start at level 1. Sometimes I do like a little bit. I love time jumps. And like that and I've told, like I did with Beyond Horizon's Edge. It was like, I need your character at level 10, I need your character at level 3, and I need your character at level 1, because we are going to be doing some time jumps.
I'm also a fan of level 1, like building my, like I like to because I like level 1 and 2 to be where I find the persona before it gets defined by the class.
Yeah, I think so, because I think otherwise it's the thing with level 3. It's, I'm playing the cleric, I have to do the cleric. So it's
all right. Well, that's I'm looking forward to recapping on this and coming back to it. And next episode being first time from a DM's perspective, and trying to figure out like that sort of stuff. It's I might see if I can find someone over the next 2 weeks who has only recently started DMing, because that freshness would be really good.
We'll circle back on that. We're
meeting adjourned.
That's it from us. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time, so we'll be reporting back on those games. And there's plenty of more D8 Dungeon content coming out over the next couple of days. So
speaking of a little bit of housekeeping as well, I will upload these episodes to the YouTube, I promise. I haven't been meaning to, but I will. We figured out a system, and the system's flawless, so it's going to be good. It'll be fine. But I'm not in work on Monday, so like the plan is just like have them all scheduled. And I'll bump the Nights of Sid Chill one out of order, just so it's out. Yeah.
Cool. All right, folks.
All right.
We're going to bounce out. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And hopefully you're playing some TTRPGs.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.